So, how do you give a machine a moral compass? I mean, really think about that, especially for a totally new kind of AI that can think, plan, and work in teams all on its own. It's one of the biggest questions we face, and the paper we're diving into today offers a fascinating blueprint. Let's get into it.
First things first, we've got to get our heads around a massive shift that's happening right now in artificial intelligence. We are moving into a whole new era, the era of agentic AI.
So, stop thinking about AI as just a single smart tool like a calculator or a search engine. Instead, ask yourself this. What if AI could form a team? You know, a whole crew of AI agents, all working together to solve problems way too big for any one of them to handle. And that's the jump we're making. We're going from a single, isolated AI model to these complex, collaborative systems where lots of different agents are working together. And listen, this isn't sci-fi anymore. This is happening right now. This new world is what we call agentic AI. And honestly, the best way to picture it is like a super-powered project team. You've got different AIs, each with its own job. They communicate, they break down huge goals into smaller tasks, and they make their own decisions to get the job done. But, and this is a huge but, all this incredible power brings an equally enormous risk. I mean, if we're building these autonomous AI teams, how on earth do we make sure their goals actually line up with our goals? This is the heart of what's known as the AI alignment problem.
And the stakes here are incredibly high. The paper puts it bluntly. The fear is that these models can soak up our worst impulses, holding on to harmful ideas, leaking private information, and even doing things that could actively hurt people.
This slide just nails the core problem. On one side, you have our human values, things we all care about, like fairness, safety, and privacy. But on the other side, if we're not careful, the AI's actions can lead to the exact opposite: bias, dangerous outputs, and data leaks. Closing that gap, well, that's the whole ballgame. So how do we even start to fix this? Well, this is where the paper gets really interesting. It lays out this powerful blueprint, a structured, multi-level framework for building our values right into the AI's core. The official term for this is value alignment. But really all it means is teaching an AI right from wrong. It's about making sure its goals and behaviors line up with what we as a society think is important. It's literally about engineering a moral compass. The framework itself is built on a really simple but brilliant idea: a 3-level hierarchy of values. The easiest way to think about it is like an ethical pyramid. So let's break it down level by level, starting at the very top. At the peak of the pyramid, you have macro values. Think of these as the universal, non-negotiable rules for all AI. Things like do good, be fair, be honest, and maybe most importantly, do no harm. This is the bedrock, the ethical foundation that should apply to every AI everywhere. Okay, one level down, we get to the meso values. This is where things get more specific. It's not one size fits all anymore. We're talking about values shaped by things like national laws, industry-specific rules, or even cultural norms. An AI built for healthcare in Europe has to follow different privacy rules than an AI built for gaming in the US. Context is everything here. And finally, we zoom all the way into the micro level. This is the most detailed, task-specific layer. If an AI is designed to help a company hire people, its core micro-value has to be avoiding bias. If it's for a law firm, absolute client privacy is the top priority. It's about the specific ethics for the specific job it's doing. Now, this framework looks great on paper, but the real test is what happens when these different levels of values start to clash. And believe me, they do. Let's check out a famous real-world example of when good intentions went sideways. This is a classic cautionary tale. Amazon wanted to build an AI to find the best tech talent. That's a solid micro-level goal, right? Find the best person for the job. The problem was they trained it on 10 years of their own hiring data, which it turns out was full of unconscious bias against women. The result? The AI learned that bias perfectly and started automatically discriminating against female candidates. It completely clashed with the macro-level value of fairness. And this right here is the critical takeaway. These levels aren't separate. They're all connected. Just like in the Amazon case, going after a micro-level goal, like hiring efficiently, can totally violate a huge macro-level value, like fairness. Getting this right means you have to balance all three levels at the same time.
So what's next? Where do we go from here? The paper points to some really fascinating research directions that are going to be key to figuring all this out.
To build these AI teams better, the paper suggests we should start borrowing ideas from other fields. For example, using game theory to predict how these AI agents will negotiate with each other, and using organizational theory to design AI team structures that are just fundamentally more ethical from the start. But it's not all just theory. We also need practical tools. That means developing better ways for these agents to talk to each other and coordinate their values. And it means creating open, shared data sets so we're all building from the same ethical starting point. A safe AI ecosystem has to be a team effort. All right, so we've just walked through this entire blueprint for an AI's moral compass. Let's boil it down. What's the one thing you really need to take away from all this? It really comes down to this one massive question. As literally millions of these autonomous agents are being created and released into the world, how do we make absolutely sure that they are guided by our most important shared human values? A framework like this one is a vital first step, but the work is just beginning. If you want to keep up with the ideas that are shaping our future, make sure you subscribe to VibeDoc. And now, we want to hear from you. Thinking about that three-leveled pyramid, macro, meso, and micro. Which level of AI value do you think is the most important one for us to get right? Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. Thanks for watching.